In our maturity, this realization grew clearer, and the true memory of self appeared as the only real one. We no longer appeared to be entombed in the tools of body, mind, and thought, which Socrates pointed out could imprison us like an oyster in its shell. It was easy to get away from the memories of past glories and sins, to merge the sub and super consciousness, and to have no thought of the future. Even as the days passed, we would be livingly aware of eternity. The light of the whole would reveal its beautiful differences, and awarely we could play in the changing Leela. Without our even trying, conflicts and problems would both resolve and dissolve, and the universe would again become whatever it is. We are simply aware. In silence, we close our outward eyes and our clever minds to perceptions. Then, without ourselves, awakens true memory, the power of steady vision and clear remembrance of what we are, the birthright of all. Then we no longer need a guide, for we live at ease, at home as artists in life. The dis-ease of assertion and trying is healed and eased by silence. 1,000 years BC, the sages of Egypt proclaimed, "O thou sweet well for him that thirsteth in the desert, it is closed to him who speaketh, but open to him who is silent. When who is silent cometh, lo, he findeth the well." The ancients of Tibet knew it as the mind is the slayer of the real. Let the disciple slay the slayer. Kill in thyself all memories of past experiences. Look not behind, or thou art lost. Yet why slay or kill? The real cannot be slain, only obscured. And we do not kill the poor memories. Let them die simply and naturally. They do fade and cease to be bondage when they are seen as they are, as illusions and toys. Look not behind with longing, glee, or attachment, or we are lost like in thought and stuck in the bondage of memories. Consciousness is held in bonds by love of things, and so it cannot proceed and clarify into awareness in which there is an end to longings, yearnings, and efforting. No more do we look before and after and grieve for what is not. Past and future merge into the at-homeness of the eternal now. All our striving, all yoga practices, and all becoming and begoing seem to me a kind of conscious or unconscious attempt to clarify the mirror of the soul, to try to be sincere, But once we learn to reflect purely and thus to transcend the dis-ease of ego consciousness, we have our being in the harmonious ease of simple living awareness. Within true memory is the essence of all memories. And is not the only real progress, the only true becoming in our being more and more aware of our true memory, ourself? The earliest 7 years of rich loneliness were broken by the impact of assertive, desireful fellow pilgrims, or rather Emmanuel's attempt to vibrate harmoniously with them. Ego dis-ease was rampant. There was really very little bullying, benevolent or otherwise, no regimentation, no forcing into conformity, except that of an enlightened democracy. But the mere presence of mental, emotional, and matter-blinkered fellow pilgrims impinged on him. He could no longer shut them out of his consciousness, but had to attune to their vibration and thereby, at least for the moment, become them. The silence and the wholeness was thus limited by the noisy rhythms and assertive concerns of individuals. Emmanuel did not consciously resent or object, yet he did not seek company, and instinctively he avoided the disharmonious and the forceful. Emmanuel did not go out gladly, not even to learn, to be taught, or to be improved. Not one of the grown-ups seemed to see or talk to him. Do we ever see children? How can we, with our mental blinkers and ego values? We teach and talk at them, or love them in our own image. Inevitably so, but to Emmanuel, the limitation was often trying and tiresome. Only in safe solitude did he feel free to unfold, to heal, and to be. After the Jewish Yahweh had created the world, earth, heaven, and hell, he saw that it was good. But that was before he created man out of his own likeness, and as an afterthought, from one of the poor man's ribs, created the division we call woman. This does not imply that we are born in sin or by mistake, but rather that humans as individuals all have the fatal tendency to fall into ego consciousness in their early childhood. Only some idiots and a few pure fools escape lightly from the infantile disease, and unlike measles, most of us suffer from it in acute or chronic form until the release of death. Ego consciousness, by keeping us in a feverish delirium, prevents us from experiencing those lucid moments of silence that would enable us to unfold our wings and fly away from worldly worries. Ego life itself is a form of death, shutting us off from both the awareness of life and the true self-identification. So very few seem to outgrow it and to fall out of the illusion of the fatal division of me and thee, or to forget the illusory strutting I business. In due time came the impact of school and playmates. Grown-up children tried to inform and reform, to improve and progress Emmanuel's consciousness of values and of truth. Duly, they try to impose their duty complexes, sin complexes, and mental blinkers. But in this attempt to mold him into their ideal image, they met with less than average success. The sensitive, passive, and receptive boy, after all, did not prove to be a good medium, but neither was he felt to be a bad nor an impossible one. He complied passively and conscientiously, but not eagerly. These things apparently had to be done, and a promise, also an exacted one, had to be kept and paid like a debt. But there was no enthusing, no gushing, and few assertive demands. So he was little noticed and probably considered to be very average. His silence was the cloak of invisibility. And if he was noticed, it would be as a quiet, kindly, passive, unassertive, dull, but rather harmless boy, a true child of both my earthly and heavenly fathers. What a blessing it was in my case to be unnoticed and to be let be. It may be true charity, courtesy, dignity, and love to let children be. We let them discover their own truth by not trying to inspire them and do them good, or by imposing our own truth over them, at them, and for them. Their truth may be different, beautifully different, and our business is to live our own truth. All that glitters is not gold, and the golden rule, do unto others as you would be done by, might on certain levels be amended. Their needs may be different.